Good evening, everyone. Sarah here with Autoimmune Tribe. Happy Sunday. Really excited to hang out with you guys this evening. I am just finally getting to the end of this craziness of traveling. I am still in Michigan. I've been here for a little over a week or so. And I was going to be outside with you guys tonight, but there were so many mosquitoes that I decided to stay inside, and I'm actually just perched up on my bed right now. So, welcome, welcome. Say hello as you're joining us. And as I wrote in a post earlier today, I just want to talk a little bit about sugar. I want to talk about sugar and how it hides in many of our foods. And then I would love to just meditate with you guys, short meditation to get our week started together. So, I was watching this documentary on the truth about sugar, and there's a lot of documentaries and YouTube videos that dive into, sugar as liquid poison and sugar and its in relation to cancer, sugar in relation to weight gain, and so there's so many videos that you can go watch. I was just watching this one that's set in Europe, so it was interesting to get their perspective as well. So what I realized in my life was that sugar was very much associated with my anxiety. And I've talked to you guys about my anxiety before, and I got curious. And it was like kind of that one thing that I really haven't ever cut out truly. And I realized that I was eating far more sugar than I would have thought, because of all the places that sugar hides in foods, especially processed foods. So some weird places, some of them you may know, but that we don't always consider these things as sugary or sweet treats because sugar hides in so many things. So, we think of dessert, and of course there's sugar in donuts and pie and ice cream, right? But then there's also sugar, added sugar in things like bread, especially gluten-free bread, and peanut butter. Oftentimes there's sugar added to peanut butter. So it's a really good reminder to look at all the labels, read your labels, see how many grams of sugar actually are in these things. I just want to share some other examples of the places that I'm kind of noticing where sugar is hiding as I've become a little bit of a sugar detective. So yogurt is one. I eat coconut milk yogurt, so non-dairy alternative. However, if you get any type of flavor, no matter what, right, there's going to be sugar. And so I've looked more closely at my yogurt labels and just go for the unsweetened ones. There's one that I do get that has mango puree added, but it's just a fruit sugar, it's not an added sugar. And then I have also looked closer at things like juice and any sort of flavored waters or anything like that. Pasta sauce is a huge one, marinara sauce, and just any red sauce you're adding to a pasta. Things like gluten-free pasta could also have added sugar. Things like any alcoholic drink or cocktail you're ever going to get at the bar. I was at a wedding last night, and I'm certainly not perfect. I do drink alcohol sometimes. And I had Tito's gluten-free vodka with soda water, which was a zero sugar drink, okay? And so I just like being really mindful about that, right? Salad dressings, any sort of sauce that comes on top of like a meat at a restaurant, right? And so another example, this wedding I was in last night, I asked for no sauce on top of my chicken breast because I knew that there was probably added sugar in it, right? Things like creamer and muffins and kombucha. Kombucha has a ton of sugar in it. Cereal's a big one. Even if you're eating gluten-free cereal, it might have more sugar than regular cereal. Barbecue sauce, oatmeal, soups, even things like tomato soup, right? And like salsas too. I was at the grocery store packing some food to go up north this weekend and noticed that there was guacamole had sugar in it, right? And so it's just a reminder to make some more of these things at home so that we do have control over the sugar content. And my challenge to all of you is to start looking at your labels and seeing where added sugar actually does hide. I was looking for bars as I was traveling across the country, and like just, you know, little meal replacement bars, and trying to find one that had no added sugar, and it literally, I couldn't find any. If you guys have any good suggestions, let me know. But they also need to be gluten-free, dairy-free, nut-free, seed-free. I kind of gave up on the bars and just decided, okay, I'm going to make my own snacks, and feel so much better about it. Another place to look is just any milk alternatives. So I always get like an unsweetened coconut milk, right? So that there's not added sugar in these milk alternatives. And when you can do it at home, that's wonderful too. There was this example in this documentary, The Truth About Sugar, which was just a bowl of pad thai. I'd say, you know, like a fairly large bowl, but not anything like bigger than you would get. It's like a regular restaurant serving of pad thai, and there was 9.5 teaspoons in that one bowl of pad thai, which is something we consider to be a savory food, but that if you know, look at the ingredients, look at the labels, there's actually sugar hiding so many places. And I think so many of us are accustomed to, I know at least I was, to like sweeter breakfasts too. And breakfast is kind of like around these pancakes and waffles and donuts and oatmeal and cereal, these things that are loaded with sugar. So I know I've had to really take a step back too and rethink, what does breakfast look like, and make it a savory meal that still feels good and nourishing and fulfilling and whole, but doesn't have to be sugary. So there was some guidelines here that about 6 teaspoons a day would be the target level for the amount of sugar that you're getting, okay? So you know, you can just go in your kitchen cabinet and pick out a little teaspoon, or get your measuring spoons out and see, what does that look like, right? 6 teaspoons. And then when you're looking at the nutrition facts and labels on the products that you're buying, 4 grams, there are 4 grams in 1 teaspoon. So you might look and see like a bar, right, has 10 grams of sugar, okay? So that's going to be, there's 4 grams in 1 teaspoon, so that would be about 2.5 teaspoons, right? So that one bar is like 30% more of your daily recommended value for sugar, right? And that's crazy. There's just sugar in so many things. I was watching another video and talked about, this was a video, a newscast from Canada, and they threw out a statistic that there are, on average, Canadian residents consume 26 teaspoons per day of sugar. And again, it's like, it's really interesting to visualize this and like measure it out and show, you know, just look, if you have sugar in your cabinet, what does 26 teaspoons of sugar look like? And we don't think about it as much because it is hidden in these foods, right? But when our body has too much sugar, this excess sugar, the liver turns it into fatty acids, and that is what causes weight gain when we're eating all these sugary desserts. So our liver turns it into fatty acids. It puts strain, sugar puts strain on the pancreas, and that's where we get things more common, type 2 diabetes, and that becoming an issue in the United States. So we're built to like these high energy foods, like there's glucose, right? And our brain, the reward center of our brain is stimulated by high energy foods that contain sugar. Okay, so if you have a gluten-free cupcake, and then, you know, you're getting this stimulation in the center of your brain, the reward center, it doesn't stop the craving when you have sugar. I don't know if you guys has anyone ever noticed that when they eat the donut or the muffin or the, you know, whatever your favorite, the piece of chocolate, especially milk chocolate, because that's going to have more sugar in it than dark chocolate. does it help? Or do you continue to crave the sugar, right? And it's like you can't get enough. I know that when I have the piece of dark chocolate, it's delicious, but I usually want more, right? And all sugar is sugar. We talk about things like coconut sugar or agave or honey, maple syrup, all these things, but that are still sugar, right? So they're still empty calories. It's still sugar. Yes, there's some differences in how they're processed and how they're refined, but they're still empty calories and it's still sugary. Whereas fruit sugar, again, does have sugar, does have carbs, but it also has vitamins and minerals and fiber as well. In this documentary, there was two women who were challenged to, one of them drank orange juice, and she was told, drink until you're full. And then the other one was eating a whole orange, okay? And this is a problem with a lot of like juice cleanses and fruit juices, right? Kathy, hi Kathy, is it true that we have more sweet receptors on our tongue than any other of the flavors? I don't know, but now I want to Google that. Maybe you can Google it while I'm talking. That would make a lot of sense too, right? Like our body likes sweet foods and it likes these high energy foods. So these women were one was drinking the orange juice and one was just eating a whole orange. And the one who ate the whole orange, I think she ate like about a full orange and a half, and then she was like, I'm full. And the woman who was drinking the orange juice hadn't even stopped. She was still going. She had almost drank like a liter of orange juice, and it didn't fill her up, right? Whereas the whole fruit has vitamins and mineral and fiber that it's going to also have some benefit for our body. And when you eat a whole fruit, the sugar releases more slowly into the bloodstream as well. So you're not getting that sugar high or that sugar rush, which I know for me induces a lot of feelings of anxiety. So I had talked to you guys, I had posted last week about some of my sugar-free endeavors and how I haven't cut fruit and I haven't cut like dates out of my diet, but I was just doing a little bit of the research, and dates are something that's like my sweet treat right now. And I was curious about, okay, I'm like eating these dates kind of as an alternative, but how much sugar do they have, right? Even if it does have, like, there's a lot of beneficial nutrients in things like dates, but one date has 66 calories. I'm not someone who counts calories, so that doesn't mean too much to me, but there was 15, 16 grams of sugar in one date. Isn't that crazy? So it's sugar is everywhere, and we are wired to love it, and it's in so many things that we wouldn't consider. And I talked to you guys a little bit about cutting bananas out of my diet too, and so I just, out of curiosity, I looked up sugar content, how many grams of sugar were in one medium banana. 14 grams of sugar, okay? And again, looking at the target level, 6 teaspoons a day, and there are 4 grams in 1 teaspoon, right? So 24 grams of sugar per day as this target level, and one medium banana has 14 grams. And again, the whole fruit is going to be different. It is going to release more slowly into the bloodstream, but that's a lot of sugar, right? And so then I looked up blueberries, because I've been doing a fair amount of berries lately because they're just easy to travel with. And there was 8 grams in a half a cup of blueberries. And again, wild blueberries have a lot of great antioxidants and benefits to them, but just being mindful of the amount of sugar in fruit, but also and especially the amount of sugar in processed foods. Where are these hidden added sugars, like the marinara sauce, right? I don't really eat tomatoes, but I always preferred the marinaras that were just tomatoes, because I don't, it's like tomatoes are already this delicious whole food. Why do we have to add sugar to them, right? And it's because our brain likes it. And there are people who make money and research these things, and they formulate their foods, these processed packaged foods, in a way that is going to appeal to the largest audience. So you're having test groups eat tomato soup with 3 grams of sugar and 6 grams of sugar and 9 grams of sugar, and then they're voting, okay, well, I liked the one with 6 grams of sugar, and so then the company decides to add 6 grams of sugar to every serving. Kathy, that's why I prefer smoothies over juice. They're whole foods and I chew them. Yes, yeah, and then it also is, you know, getting some of the digestive the enzymes, bile, the mastication in your mouth kind of going. Your body's like, okay, this is something I'm going to digest, and it releases more slowly into the bloodstream. You have the fiber, and so I drink a fair amount of juices as of summertime because they're more appealing in the summertime to me, but they're green juices, right? So kale and parsley and celery and cucumber, some lemon, maybe an apple, I think was in the one that I had today, but not like pineapple juice or apple juice or these really sugary fruit juices, more the vegetable juices. But I also prefer smoothies too because there's like more substance to them. Okay, so just to talk a little bit too about sugar and anxiety, for me, you know, it became really clear that sugar was triggering my anxiety, and that I was having more sugar than I intended in my life, even though I wasn't eating cupcakes every day, right? That there was all these hidden sugars in my food, and, you know, quote, healthy sugars, things like coconut sugar or maple syrup, but again, all sugar is sugar. So then I went on a little Google search here and was just researching a little bit about any proven facts, studies that have been published on the connection between sugar consumption and anxiety, panic attacks, and even depression. I found a lot on depression as well. And just a couple studies I wanted to share with you guys here. So one was a study that was conducted in rats, and they went on a sugar binge, and then they were deprived of food, okay? And so then they seemed to have this dopamine imbalance, and after they were deprived of the food, and this dopamine imbalance then led to increased anxiety, okay? Another one, published in 2009, found that long-term sugar use seemed more likely to impair memory and reduce the ability to fight anxiety. They were unsure about the mechanism of why, but again, a lot has to do with this dopamine imbalance in neurotransmitter in the brain, right? They wrote, these seem to indicate that sugar will affect your ability to live with anxiety, even if it is not causing the anxiety itself. So again, maybe not that sugar is triggering anxiety in people, but that it reduces your ability to cope with, deal with stress and anxiety. So then you are kind of becoming more susceptible, or it's like you're taking down, I guess I would say vulnerable. It's like you're really vulnerable to these anxiety attacks, right? So they talked all about how a healthier diet is less prone to things like sugar and insulin resistance, the development of type 2 diabetes, and there was decreased panic and anxiety attacks with a healthy balanced diet versus a diet that was full in processed and added sugars. And that in a reduced sugar diet also allowed them to deal with stress in a healthier way. Okay? So I just wanted to share some of the ways that I've actually been doing this, right? There's so many things on the internet. You can go read all about sugar, right? And it's like, we know sugar is this, like, you know, bad thing, but my challenge to you is to become a sugar detective and see where is it actually hiding, because I know from my experience, if I had gluten-free pasta and marinara sauce, I wouldn't think of that as a sugary meal, but in fact it's a very sugary meal, versus like when you eat the cupcake, you know you're indulging in the sugar. So where are the hidden sugars in your life? And if anyone, I know some of you have also gone sugar-free, or at least no added sugars, and I'd love to hear any of the strategies you use to get there. My first kind of step was just educating myself and starting to look at the labels, look at, okay, 6 teaspoons of sugar per day. How many grams is that? What does that look like? How much is in this bar? How much is in this oatmeal, right? And just becoming more aware. And then when you're then taking out the sugar or buying products like unsweetened coconut milk or unsweetened coconut milk yogurt, right? You're then we don't want to just add the aspartame or the artificial sweetener. So looking even deeper too, not just what are the added natural sugars, but then is there a replacement? And that's in things like diet soda, right? So just getting really, really aware and mindful of the labels and the foods that you're eating. And not just eating, drinking too, right? Like, are you drinking apple juice every morning? Because that's going to be loaded with sugar. Are you someone who can't quite kick the pop addiction, the soda addiction? That's where many of the hidden calories and sugar hide is in pop and soda, right? Fortunately, I've never liked soda, even really as a kid, so it was never too hard for me, but I loved apple juice. And, I stopped drinking that a long time ago, but we'll sometimes have like a fresh pressed juice that has some apple in it now. Herbal teas are a great way to like have some flavor in your water, or hot tea, iced tea. But again, you want to make sure it's unsweetened. And then sometimes I add like a lemon instead, right? And so that if you're someone who just really doesn't like to drink plain water very much. So looking at your labels, something else that has helped me, maybe a little more silly, but when I do go to the grocery store, if I'm starving, I want all of the sweet things, and I want to indulge and buy the treats and the kind of little splurges, right? Whereas if I go into the grocery store on a full stomach, then I'm less likely to buy the things that then are going to sit on the counter and taunt me, right? Kathy says, to stay away from it requires a very savory focus. Yes, yeah. And so like savory breakfasts, right? Thinking about food in a different way, and really starting to stock up on green vegetables. And one other thing I've been doing is apple cider vinegar every morning. And I did that a few years ago every day as I was starting to heal my gut and rebalance gut flora and pH of the body. But apple cider vinegar is also good for balancing blood sugar levels, so that's another thing that I've been doing to kind of cope with any sort of blood sugar imbalance in my body. And then really eating more fruit than I was, right? Because your body still needs carbs and glucose. I know some of you may be on like a ketogenic diet and do something different, but Carly says, making homemade ingredients has helped me to work on eliminating sugar, making my own coconut yogurt dressing sauces, also finding alternatives that satisfy. I love roasted sweet potatoes. Yeah, great. And I love that you said making those homemade ingredients, right? I just bought a kefir starter. So it's in the refrigerator. I'm going to make it when I get back to Colorado and try to make my own coconut kefir. And again, I'm not going to add in a flavor to it. And how to use ACV. How do you use ACV? I will either just take a straight shot of it, 1 to 2 tablespoons in the morning, or I sometimes also add it with, like, I'll dilute it. It's good warm. It's really good warm, and you can add, I try not to add anything sweet, because that kind of counteracts the effects of it, right? When I was healing my gut, I would add a little bit of, I did a little pineapple juice in it to help cut the acidity. But now I usually just do it straight, and sometimes I'll dilute it and warm it up too. Just keep it simple. What else? So I've been planning ahead a lot, kind of to Carly's point, really starting to think ahead. Even when I went out to this wedding, it was like, okay, I'm gonna bring foods that I know I can eat, and that way if at the rehearsal dinner I can't eat anything, I'll know that there's food back at the house for me, or I'll be prepared to eat a small meal before I go, so that I didn't have to go hungry. Right? And your taste buds do begin to change. They start to shift. And that's why, Kathy, your question was really interesting. I don't know the answer to it, but now I'm really curious to look up, where are these receptors and different taste buds for sugar on your tongue, right? And there's someone in the group who posted about this, and I thought it was a beautiful idea. She wrote about how she started, it's not like you have to wake up tomorrow and say, I'm never going to eat sugar again, but maybe you do this in phases. And I can't remember who posted this, so I'll have to go back and look. But she was writing about how she, no sugar after noon, or no sugar after 3 p.m., right? And like just starting to cut back, right? And allowing yourself to do it in transition, and being able to have things like fresh fruit around the house when those sugar cravings do kick in, and eventually feeling completely fulfilled by a couple slices of apple instead of reaching for the candy bar or something. Starting the day with high protein, savory breakfast has also helped me a lot. Something that's going to help me stay full and help balance blood sugars throughout the rest of the day. And just starting to eat more, like, not boring food, but more plain food, and savoring the wholeness of broccoli, right? Like, broccoli's delicious on its own, and starting to like reconnect to my love for vegetables has helped as well. If you are someone who reaches for the chocolate, and that's part of your transition phase to start to cut the sugar, go with a dark chocolate. Don't not the milk chocolate, right? Many of you may already be dairy free, but there's going to be less sugar in the dark chocolate, like a little square. But again, what I noticed was that doesn't necessarily like fulfill me or cut the cravings. It's just me eating sugar. So taking a step back and kind of analyzing that for yourself. And what I started to do is do some of the 21-day sugar detox cookbook. I have that, and there's some great kind of recipes in there that meet the cravings without the sugar. So for example, I made the apple cinnamon donuts, and I altered it a little bit even further because I don't do eggs or nuts, and so I made it nut-free, egg-free, gluten-free, no added sugar. There were some slices of apple. I think there was broke down to something like an eighth or so of an apple in each of the little donuts, right? So not too much fruit content or fruit sugar either. Yeah, watch out for the milk alternatives. And even if you're going to a coffee shop and you get coconut milk or almond milk or soy milk or whatever, if you are getting a dairy alternative, notice what their container says, because they might be adding a vanilla soy milk to your latte, and it could be loaded with sugar, right? And they might not advertise it as a vanilla latte. It's just vanilla flavored soy milk, coconut milk, whatever, which could be another place where it hides. Yeah. So between caffeine and sugar, for me, the anxiety has really gotten a lot better, and I've seen this big shift. And part of me has fallen back in love with some of the simplicity of eating and simplicity of food, and not overcomplicating things, and really being able to cherish meal prep, and finding gratitude for the food that I am eating. Kathy, eating something whole and savory is my best sugar craving buster. It's grounding. I don't always, but it's best. Yeah, and I did that up north this weekend. I was like, oh my god, I really want cake. I wanted the wedding cake, which was not gluten free, so I absolutely could not have it. But it also had a ton of sugar and dairy and eggs, right? Instead, I went home and I was like, I think I'm still a little bit hungry, so I just warmed up some broccoli and some Trader Joe's chicken sausage that has good ingredients, right? There's no added sugar. But that's another place that you might see added sugar. And bacon normally has added sugar to it, so you have to find them like a paleo bacon. They have those at Whole Foods that are really good. So eating that savory thing instead of eating the cake was just a much better choice for me, and it made me feel better at the end of the day. And that's where I'm reaching for, is right, just to be able to wake up in the morning and not feel like I have to struggle with this anxiety or this ability to cope with stress and panic attacks, and that makes me feel so much better. So Do you guys have any questions about that? I just really wanted to talk to you guys a little about that and like why I'm doing this and how it's been amazing for me. It's not necessarily easy, but it is really empowering me to be more aware of my food, more aware than I was before, and look deeper at my labels. And Vitamin Cottage has a sugar-free turkey bacon. Oh, that sounds really good, Kathy. We don't have a Vitamin Cottage very close to us, but there's one in, I think, like Lafayette, but it's not too far. Okay, so I just want to, if you guys have any questions, write them down and I will come back to them. I just wanted to take a minute to meditate with you guys. So I talked a little bit about in the post where Sundays sometimes feel like I sometimes notice my body like kind of clenching up and starting to like, it's like Monday's just around the corner. What am I gonna do? Stress, starts to pile up. And just shifting out of that mindset and into a more soulful place and a soulful way to even like ritualize your Sundays. That's why I love these Sunday soul chats, because it's kind of just a time to slow down, get ready for the week, focus on some aspect of healing, and get grounded. But I also love to do that with meditation practice, so we're going to meditate here just for a little bit. I'm going to turn this music on in the background. You guys can let me know if it's too loud or anything. And I just want to ground ourselves for this week, get ready, and get open to receive all the possibilities that can happen this week ahead. Okay. So find a comfortable seat or lay down and just take a moment to get any kinks out of your body. Maybe roll your shoulders, roll your head a little side to side. Just get comfortable. Notice where you are holding on to tension. Sit tall through your spine or back flat on the floor. And close your eyes. And start to tune into your breath. Inhale through your nose and open your mouth, breathe out, making a ha sound. Breathe in even deeper through your nose. Feel air fill into your belly, your heart, your lungs. And ha, breathe out. Releasing stale air, fresh new breath. Breathe in through your nose. And open your mouth, breathe out. And then just start to breathe however feels natural to you. Feel your shoulders fall down your back. Unclench your jaw. Release the tongue from the roof of your mouth. Notice if you're clenching or furrowing your brow. Start to relax the muscles of your face, your neck. Relax your shoulders, your arms, your wrists. Notice if your fingers are clenching. Just let them drop heavy. Start to release any tension in your chest. Notice if you have shallow breathing. Notice if you're holding your belly in, and just relax. Let your abdominal muscles relax and release. Start to get heavy through your sit bones, this grounding part of our body, root chakra center. Relax any tension in your thighs, knees, calves. Notice if your feet feel tense, and can you just let your toes get heavy and fall apart. If you're lying down, let your feet fall heavy to the sides. As you start to relax your entire body to the core, can you also start to let go of some of the stress that you may be holding on to? What feels hard in your body? What feels hard in your life this Sunday evening? And can you draw subtle awareness to what feels heavy and hard? As these things start to stack up in your life, you notice what you're anticipating, what you're stressing about, what you're worried about, nervous about, afraid of. As those things begin to stack up to the surface of your mind, can you just place them into a basket in front of you? Dropping each of them into that basket. And as you visualize each of these things that may be weighing you down, feeling like a burden, any negative thought processes or energy, just visualize them coming out of your core, out of your mind, out of your shoulders, and into the basket. And just close that basket up. Lock it up. And just visualize all of these things that once felt heavy, burdensome, starting to dissolve, to release energetically from your body. For they no longer serve you. You no longer need them. We don't need to worry right now. There's no need. So start to visualize this basket dissolving into space, leaving your body, your aura, your subtle energy fields. And as that starts to drift away, bring your awareness back into your core, your center, your physical body. And imagine an anchor connected to your sacrum. Root the anchor down through the levels of building or floor or grass beneath you, into the dirt, the layers of the earth, into the molten center core. And as you visualize this anchor connected to your sacrum, can you also start to feel this heaviness? And as you anchor yourself down, we become more grounded. And we begin to then receive energy, earth energy, coming back up this anchor into our body through the root chakra. And imagine this just as a white healing light. Your body filling up with energy, excitement, joy, gratitude for what lies ahead, all of the possibilities of this week. You could wake up tomorrow and it could be your best day ever. Let's hold space for that to happen, for our bodies to receive these incredible miracles. Opening ourselves up to all and infinite possibilities. Soaking up this energy from the center of the earth into your root chakra. Imagine this as a white light. And slowly draw that same energy up your spine towards your sacral chakra, just below your belly button. Filling your body up with this white light. Move the energy up to solar plexus chakra, space above your navel. Notice how your body feels as you start to soak in this energy, excitement, joy, and gratitude for what lies ahead and what you have here in this present moment. And Continue to move that light up your spine to your heart, filling up your entire chest and heart cavity with this white healing light. Center of love in your chest. Love for those that surround you, love for yourself. Moving this energy, this white light, up to your throat chakra, base of your throat. Start to feel it in your shoulders as well, along your collarbones, filling your whole body up with this white light. And as you breathe in, visualize yourself breathing this white light up, like you're sucking it up into your body, to your third eye center, space between your eyebrows, and start to feel your mind energize, shift into a place of receiving. There will always be time to give, give, give. Can tonight you just take a moment to receive, receive, receive? Taking that white light to your crown, the top of your head, top of your skull. Letting that white light fill your entire being, your entire skull. And then, like a beam of light connected to the top of your head, allow that white light to burst through you up into space. The entire body filled with white light, energizing light, healing light that opens us up to infinite possibility for this week that lies ahead. What are the changes that you want to make or create in your life? Maybe you challenge yourself to start to look at your labels. Where is the hidden sugar in your diet? Maybe you have something else you're working on. What do you want your life to look like? What are your goals? What are your aspirations? What are your dreams? What brings you joy? Can we open ourselves up to this creation of our dream life, dream health, dream core desired feelings, emotions within our body? Letting this white light come out of your skull into the universe, the space that surrounds you. Can you be this light for those around you and for yourself to keep you grounded, centered, whole in this thing that we call life? And breathe in deeply through your nose. And breathe out. Notice any changes in your body, changes in your breath. Breathe in and out. One more. Breathe in and out. And just breathe. Start to just become aware of where you are, your immediate surroundings, the place where you are sitting or lying down. Bring your hands to heart center. Cradle your thumbs into your heart space. Bow your gaze down. The light in me honors the light in all of you. So, so grateful for this amazing tribe of women in this space that we share every Sunday evening. Bring your thumbs to the space between your eyebrows, elbows to touch. Gently bow. Namaste. And just blink open your eyes and start to look left and right and up and down and take in your surroundings. And if you're still with me, just let me know how that meditation felt in your body. What are your goals for this week, and how do you feel going into your Monday? Love you all so much. I will upload this video to the blog this evening, and see you throughout the rest of this week. Love you. Good night.